Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Andre Martin. I've been a financial manager with the United States federal government for the last 5 years, and today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to survive the 2025 government shutdown.
Donald Trump has decided that he wants to force millions of Americans, including possibly 16 million children, to experience hunger.
So I'm coming to you guys today to share the wealth of knowledge that I've acquired over the last 10 years in business finance, personal finance, investing, and in my latest chapter, government finance, where I manage over $250 million annually appropriated fund to support my agency in the areas of formulation through the guidance of Office of Management and Budget at the White House, to the executing of the president's budget, to monitoring and reporting on these financials to show you guys how, one, the government shutdown occurs, and two, how you can best be prepared and navigate this time of uncertainty.
And Chuck Schumer himself boasted that every day of the shutdown gets better for us. That's his now infamous quote that he wishes he had not said out loud.
So a government shutdown occurs when the president introduces a spending plan to lawmakers, and lawmakers and the president aren't really seeing eye to eye on how to spend those dollars. So now there's a lapse in appropriations.
Families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously, but it is one of the few leveraged times we have.
For example, the 2025 fiscal year ended September 30th, 2025, and on October 1st, they didn't have a spending bill for the year, nor did they set out to do a continuing resolution, which essentially just says we're going to operate the government at the prior year's levels without any new adjustments to the bill. Now, because the president and lawmakers don't have an agreement, now they're in a stalemate on how to spend their money, and now the government has been shut down to just essential services only. Now, essential services for the government looks like things like the Department of Defense, Air Traffic Controller, the FAA, healthcare, anything to pretty much preserve life and protect life. So what happens is these people that are deemed essential for the government to operate this country, to keep people safe, aren't even getting a paycheck. So essentially they're working for free right now with no certainty on when the next time they'll receive a paycheck. Now this happens because the president doesn't have any legal authorization to spend any money in FY26 because Congress hasn't signed anything into law.
He does whatever the hell he wants to, whether it's legal or not.
It kind of goes hand in hand with the separation of powers outlined in the Constitution, whereas the president has the authority to administer and enforce the law, but first Congress has to give authority and the power of the purse to spend those monies to carry out law.
Yes, I'm only a bill, and if they vote for me on Capitol Hill, well then I'm off to the White House where
So now I'm going to share with you guys 4 things that I've done and I'm continuing to do to survive a government shutdown as a federal employee. So first, we got to talk about how to be financially prepared for uncertain times like this, because there's no way we can ever predict when the shutdown is going to happen or what anybody else is going to do that puts us at a vulnerable position.
The Trump administration has chosen to use the security of food in our country as a bargaining chip in a government shutdown.
So the first thing that I've done to prepare myself in these times was to stack up a 3 to 6 month emergency plan. It is really important that when you have a lapse in income, that you have some type of cushion for an emergency for times like this, because the government shutdown is an emergency for the country as a whole, and even more for government employees that aren't getting paid at this time. But this proverb that I want to hit y'all with is, wealth isn't measured by how much money you have, but wealth is measured by how much time it buys you when the income stops flowing. So for example, let's say we have student loans, car note, insurance, phone bill, utilities, groceries to cover every month. So if your monthly bills come out to about $5,000 a month, in order to buy yourself 3 months in the case of a lapse in your income, then you need about $15,000 at minimum. And if you want to have a little extra cushion to cover 6 months, then you need about $30,000. Now, you don't want to have that money just sitting in a regular bank account accruing almost zero interest. So now what you want to do is you want to put that money into a high yield savings account, which pays anywhere between 3 to 5% in a year's time. So that money could just be sitting there accruing all the interest for years and years until you need to pull it out. Now I know what you're thinking. That's a lot of money. Now the goal isn't to have that saved in like 1 year, or it takes time to develop those habits to build your savings account up to that level. It took me probably about several years to build up to that point. But now that I have that, now during this time, I'm not as worried or stressed about how I'm going to eat or make my mortgage payment or student loan payments. So it really does give you a certain level of financial flexibility. And that leads me to my second point, which is you need to be tracking every penny that you make and every penny that you spend, because that's the only way you're going to be able to know how much your monthly expenses are. It will really help you guys understand financial milestones and goals and planning around your daily life. It's very important that I'm using this time to eliminate any unnecessary spending. So that means not going out as much or cooking at home more. It's really all about making really good, sound financial decisions. I have a custom financial dashboard that I created about 10 years ago and that I've been continually improving on it. And this financial dashboard is a very powerful tool. It allows you to enter your daily spending as well as your weekly income. It also gives you a dashboard of things like weekly checks, daily spending, savings accounts, expenses that are recurring every month. It tracks investment portfolios, and it also gives you a visual on the financial metrics. And it's something I would like to share with you guys. I'm offering a free 25-minute consultation where we can just kind of talk about your financial goals or habits or things that you would like to see differently in your financial position. If that's something that you guys are interested in, reach out if you guys have it. And that brings me to my third point, which is leverage your credit card as much as possible. Now, this only is effective if you're not behind on your credit card payments, because credit card interest is definitely a really big thing and can really set you back financially. And the reason why I give you this advice is because cash is your best friend at this point. You want to have as much cash as possible, and with leveraging your credit card, it really gives you a little time to stretch out your money. But it kind of goes hand in hand with the last tip I gave you. Limit your spending to only just necessary spending. So essentially, you're just using your credit card as cash. Revolving credit works in monthly intervals, right? Let's say you spend $1,000 on food, groceries, toiletries, things for the house. Leveraging a credit card buys you at least 30 days. So let's say you start at a $0 balance, and within those 30 days, you run up a $1,000 credit card bill. At the end of that billing period, the credit card will say that $1,000 is due at the end of the next billing cycle. So now, instead of spending your money at one day at a time, you bought a whole 30 days. On top of that, a lot of credit card programs have a cash back program, and you can cover your travel expenses or use points to pay for your credit card bill as well. So that's a good way to just maximize the amount of resources that you have on hand. And speaking of being resourceful, that brings me to my last point. Reach out to your lenders, like Wells Fargo or your landlord or, your utility company. They actually may have shutdown relief and certain programs that will allow you to either go under a forbearance for a certain period of time, because I think the whole, country knows about the United States government shutdown and how that impacts its employees. So you'd be surprised on the resources and the assistance that a lot of companies and programs have to help us out. I remember back in 2019, they had a grocery store in DC called Giant that was literally giving out free groceries to people in the morning, and it was on a first come first served basis, as well as other restaurants, and Pizza was giving out free pizza to federal employees. So really take advantage of those programs, especially if you find yourself in a very vulnerable position. You just never know what reaching out and seeing what an organization can do to give you some type of relief and assistance. So in conclusion, proper financial preparation prevents anxiety. As always, guys, I really appreciate your time. Please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps get this information out there. I think that this is some information that a lot of people could benefit from, and they could see a turning point in their financial position. So as always, guys, thank you. Have a good day. Take care.